Okay, today's worksheet is reviewing three forms of a linear function. We have one form that's called slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. I'm just going to kind of put a few little notes right here to just kind of make sure that I remember everything that is inside here. The next one is point slope form. The m still is slope. And then we this time have a point. We have x1 and y1 taken from here and here to create a coordinate. Remember that the minus signs are part of the formula. So if you ever see something that's not a minus, for instance here, it must mean that we had y minus -4 because those two negatives or two minus signs next to each other create a positive. All right, and then standard form ax plus by equals c is the one that is the most complicated because you have to memorize. In order to get the x-intercept, you take c over a, this number over this number, to find the x-intercept. In order to find the y-intercept, you take c over b. And then in order to take slope, or to find slope, you take a negative version of whatever a is, and you put it over b. And these are little calculations that you're going to have to use to figure out the answers for those. So please write that down at the top. We're going to use these forms to help us with the rest of this paper. This one says which equation goes with the table below. I'm going to start you off on all these questions. You're going to finish it and try to find the answer. So I'm just starting you off. Notice that all the answer choices are in y equals mx plus b. So I'm just going to kind of give myself a little note here that all of these are in y equals mx plus b. I know that this number represents the slope and this number represents the y-intercept. So first of all, I can find the slope by doing the whole y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 thing. Here's y1, there's y2, x1 and x2. The reason they are labeled that way is because this is the y column, that's the first y, that's the second y. This is the x column, that's the first x, that's the second x. That's how I label them, so now I can put them in my slope formula. Remember, this is the slope formula to help us find slope. So 15 minus 13 over 6 minus 2, which is 2 over 4, which is 1/2. So I know I can cross off C and D. In order to find the y-intercept, this is where I'm going to start you off and leave you. I'm going to have you find the y-intercept on your own. If we know that we have y equals 1/2 x, but we do not know the plus b, you can take one, and it doesn't matter which one, of these points, plug it into the formula. So if y was 17, I'm going to put a 17, and I put 1/2 times 10 plus b. At this point, you have an equation. You can solve the equation to find the y-intercept. All right, the next one, number 2, says which of the following, or which point is located on the line y plus 4 equals 5 times x minus 3. This one is in y minus y1 times x minus x1. This is point slope form. So let's go ahead and plot the point. Let's pull it out first. So the x1 is 3. The y1 should have been minus 4, but it's plus 4, which tells me that this was a negative 4. So 3 negative 4 is down here. And my slope was 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. I could always draw my line to help. Luckily, they gave me an empty graph. And let's figure out which one of these coordinates is along this line. You're going to do that on your own. All right. This one says which equation represents the graph. So some of these I have in y equals mx plus b. Some of these are in y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I am not going to do very much for you on this one, except I want to show you how to pull out this point. So that point would be the x1, and that would be the y1. So if I were doing 2, negative 8, 2, negative 8 is going to be way down here. So it looks like it might be on the line. If everything else kind of works out for it, if the slope works out and none of these work out, then that might be your option to choose, but you're going to do the rest on your own. All right, the next one says check all the options for the graph that represent the graph above. So what I'm going to do is look at all of these options and try to see which one fits the line There it says check all that apply, which means that more than one is going to be correct. So I have y equals mx plus b here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Oh. And then I have standard form down here. I want you to try the rest of this on your own, and then we'll check later.